Hey folks, thanks for listening to Two in the Cooler. If you're new to the show, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Two in the Cooler, and check out our YouTube page. We got a lot of great clips going up every day, as well as full video episodes of the podcast. And as always, feel free to share the show, because if you like it, the people you love are also going to like it. Why wouldn't they? You are a trend setter. Set the trend by sharing Two in the Cooler. That would mean a great deal to us. And you can rate and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts. That helps out podcasts a lot. I have no idea why it does, but for some reason that's like a huge thing. So thank you guys if you've done that, and please do if you haven't yet. This episode of Two in the Cooler comes to you in affiliation with Instacart. 2020 is over tomorrow, the day that this episode comes out. But things may not be slowing down as quickly as we'd like. So, in the meantime, why not use Instacart? Avoid going to the grocery stores, avoid waiting in line, searching through aisles, and just get some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your door in as little as 1 hour. Best part is, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $35 or more. Just hit the link in the show notes and get that deal. Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the episode.
So today's the last day of 2020. Well, when people are listening to this, the day this comes out is the last day of 2020.
That's correct.
Are you excited?
Am I excited for the year to be over?
Yeah.
I don't, honestly, I was kind of, I don't know why, but I was mentally in that place that some people, it seems, have been in, like on the internet, where, 2020 is going to come and everything's going to, or 2021 is going to come and everything's going to be fine. Like the clock's going to strike midnight.
Just back to normal.
And It's like, boom. Like it was all
nothing
ever
happened.
Exactly. And then a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, that's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard." So
it's a dumb thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that's not how things work.
Mm-hmm.
But you could kind of make it work like that, in the sense where there's a general consensus that you just forget everything that previously happened.
Okay. That's called alcoholism, I think, is what they use for that.
No, the Mandela effect.
Oh, okay. That's a little different.
No, a Ponzi scheme.
I think that's a little different, too.
Oh, okay. I heard a story on a podcast the other day, and I wanted to tell you because, one, it's just hysterical, and two, it kind of ties into you. So you know the guy from Letterkenny, the guy with the long hair?
Yeah. Is this when he was on Chiclets?
Yeah, so I had listened to the episode originally, and I kind of thought nothing of it. But then they did like a best of kind of episode that they released, and I was listening to it, and I reheard him tell this story, and I was like, holy shit, this is hysterical. I have to remember to tell Andrew, because I know that you were a fan of the show Letterkenny. So I don't remember his name, but that's irrelevant.
Dylan?
Yeah, that might be right.
Dylan something.
I mean, in real life, though, not from the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Dylan something.
I don't even know his name in the show. I've only watched it.
It's he's Riley, and the other one's Jones.
Okay. So, he was telling this story where he was on a ferry going from Vancouver to somewhere. And it was like 7:00 in the morning. Him and his buddies were on the ferry. It's like I don't know. It's a couple hour long ferry, and super early in the morning there was like nobody on it, but him and his buddies were on it. So he's on the ferry, and through a series of events, he realizes that he just shit his pants. So he shits his pants on the ferry, and he goes, he leaves his friends and he goes upstairs to go to the bathroom. and he walks in the bathroom, and I guess the stalls like are floor to ceiling like thing. There's a stall, right? But when he walks in, he realizes that like he can hear that there's two gentlemen in the stall and they're fornicating. They're having sex at 7 o'clock in the morning in this stall. So now
Wow.
he kind of has to decide like what's going to make this more uncomfortable. Like, do I say, hey, fellas, like I kind of know what's going on, but I just shit my pants. I need to get in the stall. Or do I like sit there and just like wait outside the bathroom, and then when the stall opens up, I'll go in? So he kind of decides like, okay, I'll just wait it out. Like I'll save all three of us the embarrassment of like having to have that interaction. I'll sit down and wait this one out. So so that's the like that, it's already crazy. One, he shits his pants. Two, there's two guys having sex in the bathroom. So now he's like sitting on a bench, shit still in his pants, outside of the bathroom, and there's an older woman about 70, like one of the only other people on the train, sitting on a bench like a little bit ways away, and she's asleep. So he's sitting there, and all of a sudden, as he's sitting there, he smells shit, but not his own shit. So he looks over, and he realizes that in her sleep, this 70-year-old woman just shit her pants. So now they're both sitting there with shit in their pants, and he can clearly see her like about to get up to go to the bathroom, in which she will open the door and walk into the two men having sex. So now he has to decide, do I step up and say to this woman, like, hey, lady, I know I don't know you, but I also just shit myself, and I know that you just shit yourself, but the problem is we can't get in the bathroom on this ferry at 7 a.m. because there's two men having sex in the bathroom? Or he has to kind of let her walk in, figure out for herself, and then she's going to have to make that decision, like, do I go sit in my own shit? And so the story ends pretty much with he finally gets back to his buddies, and it's like an hour and a half later. And they're like, dude, like, where the fuck have you been? You've been gone for an hour. And he tells you would not believe the shit that just happened. Punchline shit that just happened because him and the old lady bullshit himself. But isn't that a fucking hysterical story? Like, somebody lived that.
I mean, that's like ships in the night. Both of them pooping their pants.
Like, not only do you shit your pants, but then there's two men banging in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then while you're sitting there waiting for them to finish what they're doing, the old woman that's asleep in the same vicinity, the only other person on this ferry besides this guy's friends and the two people having sex, is this old lady, and she shits herself too.
And then, man, that is wild. How many people... Because that's two on the same ferry, which is crazy. At least two that we know of. So how many people are shitting themselves on this ferry? And how many do it on a daily basis? How many per ride?
And I wonder if... And you know what? This just made... I wonder if it has something to do with the ferry. And the reason I say that is, do you remember the conversation that we had with some of our family at Christmas, where one of our cousins was like, yeah, like, some of my friends have said, like, every time I'm at this house, like, it makes me have to shit.
Mm-hmm. There's something mystical about some locations.
Some places that just make you have to poop, I guess.
Shit mist. They just have the shit dust, the shit charm,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. It's been throughout
Yeah.
history. You know, the Incas had a different term for it. You know,
Yeah.
You call it what you will, but
Yeah, one of our family members' house, that ferry, and then our buddy Adriano's underwear just always have that effect. Apparently. And the reason I say that is because he could not come on again today, and obviously he has a very busy schedule. He's out there doing work that not many other people are willing to do. But still, okay, so we got through that. We got through the shit themselves talk.
I don't think we
Christmas,
did because,
obviously. We still got to go back to the shit ourselves talk?
I think so. I mean, I've only ever shit myself once as like a person, and it was still like pretty young, but it wasn't like I was
Young
done
enough to
shitting
be
myself.
shitting
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should have been done shitting yourself. See, I it's a judgment free zone to
Yeah.
me when people say that they accidentally shit themselves because I know a lot of people who have been put in that situation. I've never like sharded, I've never accidentally shit myself. But now that we're talking about it, it's giving me like preparation anxiety. Like, do I need to start being more prepared? Because like chances are at
If it
some
ever
point in my life,
happens.
I'm gonna shit myself.
Hmm.
Right? I guess. I mean,
I don't
I don't. I mean, maybe
know.
not. Hope it's not till I'm like older. Like if
Yeah.
you're okay, so if you're 70, once you hit 70, I think it's okay if you accidentally shit yourself.
Yeah, of course. Your bowels are just because you also have 70-year-old
And
bowels, and
obviously,
you can't expect,
yeah, and
if
before the
the rest
age
of you is
of
retired, the bowels, they're
whatever.
going to
When do
be
you
retired too.
when do you should you stop shitting yourself? Three,
Yeah,
four. I
three,
guess we'll extend it
probably
even to
maybe
like 3 or
four,
4.
but I'd say
Because in
so.
5,
This
you're going into kindergarten, and
that's
you're
what I'm
not. You don't
saying.
really. I mean, I guess you don't really want to shit yourself in kindergarten.
No, you don't, which is a perfect segue into my story because I was in kindergarten. So
When you shit yourself.
yeah, so
All
in kindergarten,
right, so let me break down the setting. You're in Miss Dinsy's
Miss
classroom at
Dinsy's
Eric Road.
class in Eric Road, back hallway, all the way to the back of the building. Or no, I guess not. I guess it's to the right. Um, if I remember that building correctly. But so in kindergarten, I didn't.
Also,
The,
I just want to say, it's not to interrupt.
okay, go ahead.
All right, I know I do this a lot, but you get my brain thinking. I was just thinking, yeah, I have no clue where Miss Dinsy's classroom was in Eric Road, but then I was like, but I know the rest of the layout of the school, and then I realized that the school is actually only one big hallway, right?
Yeah, basically, it's like two big
It
hallways.
goes, so if you're starting like where the buses are, it comes like down and then over where the foyer is in the gym, and then you go zigzag back, but then it goes like this over and up. So it's kind of like a square.
This is gonna this is gonna make it so much more difficult for me to clip this section because it's just gonna go from shit to the design of this building because you're wrong about it. I think you're wrong, and
Yeah, because I forgot about the art hallway that shoots off.
yeah. And then we're
Fuck,
gonna.
dude, I gotta go back there. I'm gonna take a pit stop.
I don't know if if your brick will be painted over. I don't know what they do with that. For a lot of
Last
different
time I
things,
was
but
there, it was not.
oh
But the
wow.
last time I was there, I was a senior in high school, so that was
Oh
five
really?
years ago.
I haven't been back there since
Yeah,
I left.
we had to
Or since you
we
were in fifth grade.
used to have to go and like wear like shirt and tie and then our varsity hockey jerseys and do like an assembly for the kids, like a sports assembly, and then they would split us up and like different people would go different places. But I have to go like read books to kindergartners, and I would always end up going to like Mr. Vekich's gym class and like playing like kickball with like 8-year-olds, and some people would have to read books.
Yeah,
I
good.
don't think they would let me, even though
No.
I was team reader. Like I was the one who had to speak at the presentation
Yeah, because you
in
got
front
a
of all
loud
the
voice
little,
though. That's
in front of all the
different.
little nuggets.
It's best to keep you. It's best to
Um,
keep you away from the.
I could have
Readers.
taught him a thing. I could have taught him a thing or two, but they had me pretty scripted, from what I can remember.
They keep you on that tight leash. They wouldn't let me
Yeah,
speak my truth.
yeah, yeah.
So
Hey,
this is my. I've got
American
the.
education. All right, shitting yourself. Yep.
Yes, I have one shitting myself story. So, in kindergarten, I wouldn't. The bathrooms were in the classrooms, and they had like those massive doorknobs. Maybe it's just because my hands were so small at the time, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't shut the door fully. I would close it so that it was closed, but I wouldn't put it so that the thing like clicked. You know what I mean?
Quick. Why?
Because for at kindergarten orientation,
You got stuck in the bathroom,
I
didn't
got
you?
stuck in the bathroom because I closed it and then I washed my hands and I didn't dry them, so my hands were too slippery to open the door to turn the handle, and I just flipped out.
If you weren't intelligent enough to open a door, what made you confident in your ability to keep yourself from shitting yourself?
I was just had confidence in my body. So the problem, I mean, this time that confidence was misplaced. Although, so here's what happened. So it was somebody's birthday, and they had brought in cupcakes for the class, and whatever
Ran
was
right
in those
through you, or
cupcakes, what?
Ran right through you?
Ran right through me. Whatever was in these cupcakes, just as soon as it got in, it was ready to get out. So I rushed into the bathroom, half shut it, and then I pulled down my pants, and I was doing things so quickly that I only pulled my underwear halfway down. So I didn't shit wearing my underwear. What happened was, when I was seated on the toilet, my underwear was below me like a hammock, so the shit
so it
fell
just caught
from
the
my
shit.
asshole and landed in the underwear. It had like a 3-inch trip into the underwear, and it had like children's like tidy whities on. I think they were like Woody Woodpecker underwear, and no, it was Superman, and they just right into like the tidy whitey part. So I was so panicked, and not to get gross on you, but this was not like a solid turd. This was like
It ran through you. Yeah, like that shit had to come out.
It was in a hurry.
That was an obvious question. I figured that would be addressed, but if not, it was going to be a question.
Yeah, of course. You have to bring that up. So it was like an overcooked meatball, basically, is the best way to describe it. And it just landed. Yep. That face you're making is absolutely correct. I don't know what it was either, but I remember it, and it just landed right in my underwear. And like I said, it was like a hammock. So I was so panicked that I pulled my underwear up, and I pulled my pants up, and I walked around like a crab for 30 minutes before it was time to get on the bus. And then I got on the bus with shit in my pants. And that's all I remember. I think it was when we were still taking the bus to Miss Patty's house. So I'm pretty sure I went to Miss Patty's house and then I like hand-lubed it. But so for like the rest of the day, it was the end of the day, like we were already getting ready to like get on the buses or whatever. I was walking around like a crab with an undercooked meatball in my Superman underpants. And then I went on the bus, and I was sitting on the bus like this.
You're squatting?
Not even squatting, just like with my back kind of arched and my thighs holding me up because, so I didn't sit on the shit. It was
and
awful.
Nobody was like, hey, why?
No.
You a weirdo?
I literally walked out of the bathroom and walking like a crab, and I was going like I was making that noise, and a woman looked at me and asked me like, is something going on? And I didn't say anything to her, and so she just let it go. She just let it fly. She's like, oh, that kid's dealing with his own things. Maybe he's just weird. But so I don't know if that counts as like technically shitting your pants. I think that's a gray area. Tell us what you think on Twitter if that counts as shitting your pants. But
so here's my thing: is that why not just take off I mean, I know you're panicked, so I understand. So it's easier to say now that we're older and have the ability to problem solve. You just take the underwear off and you throw them out in that situation.
Yep.
Yo, I actually have a story that I've never told anybody in my entire life that kind of involves shitting yourself, and I just thought about it, and I'm going to tell you right now. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
So, I was taking a shit one time in high school, probably like junior year of high school, and I was wiping my ass, and like something happened where like I like turned back to like look in the toilet and like turned back forwards, and in the process of doing that I had a piece of toilet paper in my hand that I was planning to like fold and like use a second time, and I accidentally like wiped it on my hoodie, like just wiped shit from toilet paper on my hoodie. And
Oh.
and it was one of those days where you're like, it's cold out, I'm not taking this hoodie off. Just throw on like a wife beater or something underneath, or like, you know what I mean, like a white t-shirt, old nasty white t-shirt I had on under the hoodie, and I had to rock it all day for the rest of the day.
Oh, that is disgusting.
And it was that, yeah, it was like fourth or fifth period too. I think it was during lunch. So
Oh, so how old were you when
Yeah.
that happened?
I was a junior in high school.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't hear you say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot later than like having a sober shit story, I think.
But I didn't shit
Yeah.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I didn't
you-
shit myself though.
But you're so absent-minded that you wiped it on your shirt.
I
That's pretty funny.
accidentally wiped shit on myself. Yeah. Okay. Let's get away from the shit talk a little bit,
Yeah.
because there's other things that have to be discussed.
Okay.
I'm gonna tee you up quick. I'm gonna give you a quick 30-second opportunity, only because it leads into what I'm gonna get into, and then you're not allowed to talk about it for the rest of the podcast. Okay? So you are wearing a hat that I got you for Christmas, Brooklyn Nets hat. Andy, 30 seconds to go on the Nets. Go.
They are Oh boy. They're first of all, the Nets are 12 deep.
They're
Everybody
12
knows that.
deep.
They're having a tough time.
Yeah.
The game against Charlotte, KD and Kyrie didn't even play. All we had was DeAndre Jordan. And so that makes it a lot tougher.
Why did they not play?
I don't know why. Spencer Dinwiddie tore his ACL.
Okay.
Or he half tore it. That's a huge problem. That's going to be a big loss for a long time with that. But, the thing about him
Well, what
is...
about the other 11?
Oh, I mean, they'll be able to do it for sure. But Dinwiddie, last season especially, was a big
How many
part
games is the
of
NBA
just-
playing? Does he have time to come back from an ACL,
I don't know,
half
because
ACL,
he's
or no?
not the youngest guy either. But if he
Okay,
can
he's grandpa.
play, he'll definitely get in there. But luckily, Karis LeVert has already stepped up a ton this season. He's already shown that he's here to, frickin' play, and he's gonna step up, right now when we need him to. He's already done that for sure. But the Dinwiddie thing, that's a big loss, because that's a guy where you could take Kyrie, KD, even Jordan out, and like you put Dinwiddie in with any group. You can mix and match LeVert, Harris, Allen, whatever, and like you still have a really great group of guys on the floor. That's a big loss for the team. You know what I like though is that I think there's some. I think that Steve Nash is still kind of working out his coaching style. I think that in these first 4 games, the wheels are really starting to spin with him. And especially when you have a coach like Steve Nash, who his basketball IQ is so high, combined with your starting point guard being Kyrie Irving, who's got one of the best basketball IQs in the NBA right now, maybe the best. That is a combination that is going to be deadly, especially as the season continues and when games start to actually kind of matter, you know what I mean? and even playing higher caliber teams like the Bucks, they're going to come up with some things on the court that I think are going to be really special and really fun to watch. Um, but we'll see what happens. I mean, people say that it's going to be Nets Bucks in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and that it's going to be Lakers Bucks in the finals this year. It's going to be Nets Lakers in the finals, and the reason for that is because of the bench. We're already seeing right now that Milwaukee's bench is just not at the same caliber, especially where the Nets are. And the bench is everybody knows that it's huge. I mean, if you look at the 2015 Warriors, I think the bench is one of the reasons why they played so well that year. They were able to do that. That team was able to do what it did. That's going to be the difference come the Eastern Conference playoffs. That's why the Nets power ranking is higher than the Bucks right now, and that's why it's going to stay that way. As long as people are smart. But yeah, that's
Well,
so that was longer than 30 seconds, but it took me a little while.
yeah, that was a weird interpretation of 30 seconds. Two, the way to win NBA championships is just to have LeBron James on your team. And I don't even like LeBron James, but I don't care. Whatever. Basketball sucks. The NBA is a joke. We've gone over all that.
Fair enough.
College basketball doesn't suck.
It's 100%.
But Christmas was the point of me bringing that up. The point of me bringing that up was Christmas. Glad you're rocking the hat. I don't know if you did it just for me.
I did do it just for you because I didn't know if it would be overkill. Yeah. I was already wearing the sweatshirt today.
No, because you got the sweatshirt on. Yeah, I didn't even. I probably could have put two and two together that was a sweatshirt, but no, I like that, the match and drip. I also rocking a Christmas hat from my lovely girlfriend. Very dope. And as you can see, a little new decor in the background here. As I move my mic up, top right, you got the new reverse red jersey. Go with the hat. So I'm pretty fired up. Yeah, I mean, it was a good Christmas. And another, before I let you talk about Christmas a little bit, I wanted to say I have to pump your tires a little bit. You were on the ball with Christmas presents this year. Specifically speaking of the present that you got our parents, knocked it out of the park with that little wine picnic backpack thing. Yeah, I was impressed. And then, and then you got me a Kanga cooler. High Noon edition, very cool, very top of the line, very mint, very nice stuff.
That's the thing, is what you're gonna get with me is just somebody who's just very thoughtful. I kind of feel like Christmas. It's so much about consumerism and getting presents and things like that. I prefer to give back. That's just kind of me. That's just kind of what I get, what I really get out of it. I just like to. I'm just someone who gives so much of myself, and that's. I can't help it. That's kind of who I am.
It's funny you say that because I'm almost positive that you bought those presents within a week of Christmas.
Okay, how did you know that?
Because you said before we even started opening presents on Christmas morning, I just got this.
I think I ordered everything probably like the 15th. So like 10 days in advance, so just over a week.
See, I'm not judging you by any means. I would say that I ordered all of my I had all of my presents done besides yours until probably around the same date. The reason that I got I'm usually like I'll go as far as like I'm headed to the mall on like Christmas Eve, like to get like like a candle or something. You know what I'm saying, for my mom. But this year was the first year that I had to be more of an adult about Christmas shopping from a financial perspective, and I'm very proud of myself. Not only do I use crock pots, but I also budget money around the holidays. So
I'm gonna buy you a
be
sweater
impressed if you want. Yeah. I don't know. But how was your Christmas? I mean, I didn't get to see Zoe. She was doing her thing, but well, I mean, how was it? What'd you get? Favorite present, stuff like that. Let's hear. Come on, give me some facts.
Oh boy.
Quick though. Let's
Well, I
not go
had
net
to.
style on this.
I had. To, yeah, I had to work on Christmas Eve, so I drove home to the Falls from Rochester, um, and I got there at like 9:30 at night, Christmas Eve, and we just had the same small crew from Thanksgiving over there. We had our three cousins and our two uncles, uh, and by the time I got there, everybody who was drinking was fully in the bag. I don't know if you were. I don't think you were, but.
Uh, I mean, everybody's pretty tuned up.
Mhm.
I definitely had some drinks, but yeah, no, it was a fun night though. I mean, I
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I don't know about you.
I had a great time. Even getting there late. Everybody was a little ripped. Um,
Everybody was in the holiday spirit for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
exactly. And I don't know if it was. I think it was more fun than Thanksgiving because people like stuck around later, I guess, or something. And maybe it was just because like we were gonna see the same people the next day at
Yeah, I
like on
think it
Christmas
was
Day or
more of
whatever.
like a comfortability.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
we'd already been together. We're like there was no, you know what I mean? Like we weren't worried about anything. We knew the crew that was getting together, and we'd
Right.
already done it for a holiday. And I think it was fun. I enjoyed it
Yeah.
a
That was a
lot. I mean,
blast.
obviously different than usual, but it was fun. But
Very
present,
different.
number one present you got. Let's hear it. Go.
Um, Let me think for a second. The number one present that I got, I don't know. It might be this hat actually that you got me that I'm wearing right now. I love this hat. Um, I it's kind of not that I like scoured the internet or anything, but like it's difficult to find particularly Nets hats that are not flat brim snapbacks. And
Yeah,
I've got a couple
yeah.
of those. They just don't look good on my head. I can't get
They
into
look
it. I
horrible
feel
on your
very
head.
uncomfortable. They don't
I
look good
actually
on little
have
Irish
one.
melon.
I actually have a Nets snapback here at my apartment that I took because it was at our parents' house from so long
Hmm.
because I knew that you would never wear it.
Yeah,
And it's a nice little gray with a little bit of baby or blue, like a lighter blue,
that's a
so
great
royal,
hat.
I should say.
I like that hat.
So I took it because yeah, it's a good hat. Um, yeah, I wasn't even sure what I was gonna get you for Christmas. My government agent actually kind of threw that one my way. I was just looking at a bunch of different stuff, some net stuff, and that hat popped up, and I know that's like your style of hat. As we see, everybody knows you like the Bart hat. Sometimes
Yeah.
you'll even go no hat, just mop on the head. But so I figured that would be the one for you. I know that I've put you on the spot two times already today, but I'm gonna do it again, and let me explain the reasoning. Um, it's the end of the year. It's a
Hmm.
time for reflection and growth, right?
Hmm.
Positive energy flowing through our bodies as we enter the new year. So you look back at a year like 2020, shit show of a year, as we know. We were getting invaded by aliens. We were having sex with aliens. We were getting coronavirus. I don't know, rigging presidential elections. I don't know what we were doing. We were doing it all. It was a year full of whatever it wanted to be. You
It's
could
an
do
American
anything in
tradition.
2020. There was no there was virtually no laws in the year of 2020. There was nothing that you could do that would not be overshadowed by something within the next 12 hours. It was a free for all, but again, positivity entering this new year. Look back right now, quick brain scan. I know it's tough for you. There's not a lot of space up there, but quick brain scan. Best moment from 2020. One moment that when you look back at the year, you can think that year sucked, but this was a good time. Dig down, find that for me right
Okay.
now.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with one that happened recently. But it's one of those moments where I just like, during and after, I just felt so satisfied. You know what I mean? Which is not something that I've been feeling a ton of lately. Like just like completely, satisfied. And it was playing D&D with my buddies because we stopped that for like a really long time. We stopped it for like, I think we hadn't played since uh, May, maybe, or maybe even March, when things started to get like real rough. I think it was May. Uh, and we just started doing it, maybe like a month ago or whatever. And then uh, the week before Christmas, we decided to switch some things up. We were playing with new characters, and a different one of us was DMing. DM stands for Dungeon Master for the uneducated.
Okay. Not that's not what it stands for the educated. That's what it stands. We'll call it.
Oh, right, direct.
I don't want to use the word. I don't want to use the word geek or nerd. But if you could find a less
just like cool, smart people, know
Yeah.
that it means DM.
cool,
Yeah.
smart people who build peanut butter castles.
So, it's probably the dumbest thing in the world you can do is like recount a D&D campaign or whatever. But like, man, it was just a blast. Like my friend who was the DM, like he did such a good job, and I felt like a huge asshole because when we decided that he was going to do it, the first thing I said was, "This is a terrible idea. Like he's going to be so bad at it." And he showed me up. Like he was great. It was so much fun. And he had to do a lot of stuff
Jake?
like on the fly. Yeah, it was Jake Lumadou, who's been on the podcast before. And he had one hiccup. But it wasn't even while he was DMing, and it was just a great time. And like I had this character that I made, one of his proficiencies is that he plays the bagpipes. So with the new character, you got to kind of like introduce it. So I played some bagpipe music when I was doing that, and then we start playing, and I had it in the back of my head like, okay, maybe a few weeks from now something will happen where I'll get to play the bagpipes in the game. I'll have it ready and I'll get to play it, like in the actual game. And then at the very end of this session, it looked like the two other guys. Session. It looked like the two other guys were maybe not gonna make it out, which is crazy. Like, and these are brand new characters for them. This is their first time playing with them, and it looked like maybe they were gonna die. And I got my bagpipes out, and so they were like underground. They were like deep underground in these tunnels, and they could not find their way out. So my character, who at that time thought they were dead, started to play Amazing Grace on the bagpipes, and luckily they rolled perception, and they were able to hear the bagpipes and led them to the surface. And we hopped on a giant moose and rode off into the sunset. So,
couple clicks for those bagpipes, saving lives, eh?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad memory. I mean, it is definitely funny that Dungeons and Dragons was the highlight of your year. It sounds like
But you know what?
you're living in the world Stranger Things.
Let me tell you, because this is a year where so much has been, the idea of connection has been tested so much, and it's been talked about so much. Like, how do we connect when these pandemic is going on and stuff like that? And that's all Dungeons and Dragons is really about, is connecting with each other on a level, because like you're never going to actually be in like a massive sword fight with like your friends, right, in the real world. But if you do it, on paper, you're still bonding.
You could LARP. You could LARP.
I guess that's true. You could LARP, but that's whatever. I guess you could
What?
LARP. I guess you got me
Generally
on that.
speaking,
But you're never going
I bet
to-
you the majority of people that play Dungeons and Dragons probably also LARP.
That is
At least once in a while.
that's a common misconception.
No, it's not.
I know they look like they should be, very tight communities, but they couldn't be more separate in reality. Um, but that's what I'm saying is that's all it is. So to me, it does
It's
sound
kind of
crazy
like how
still.
magicians hate gypsies.
Yeah, a little bit. Um,
Okay.
it does sound a little strange maybe that it was D&D, but you know, when you get down to the core of it, that's what it's about. So it kind of makes complete sense to me. Um, Now, have you thought of
I
your moment
understand.
yet?
I kind of. I mean, Well, one, I just want to say that gypsies are nothing to fuck around with. That's how I want. I don't
Yeah,
want
we
to
don't
let
want
that
to.
slip away.
We apologize to any gypsies. We do
Raise
not
gypsy
want to be
awareness,
shrunk.
yes, but you have to raise gypsy awareness.
Mhm.
It's very important. Um, but I kind of had a not a great year. Um, started with me tearing my MCL, and then so I couldn't finish my senior year of hockey, and then COVID rolled around. My senior year just got canceled altogether, and then obviously everybody knows the story from then in with what happened with COVID. So not a great year for me, but I think that there's definitely some highlights within there. My vacation in August. Remember, I went on vacation in August with all my friends. That was very fun. Um, I'm trying to think of. There's a few nights here and there that we, kind of in almost lapses of like orange zone, red zone kind of thing. There was, where we were able to go out and have some fun. But yeah, probably vacation. Um, I think that given I didn't hurt my knee, it probably would have been more hockey related, especially the way that the season ended. It was very dramatic, so, but yeah, I guess I'd probably have to go with vacation, which I'm also doing again. So I'm actually going to Florida on January 2nd, getting the fuck out of here for a few days. Gonna go try to live a regular life down there in the South, below the Mason-Dixon line. I would say vacation. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna come out and say that the best part of my year was meeting my girlfriend because that's just. But I mean that
Uh-huh.
definitely contributed to a little bit of joy. I would say. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would guess I'd have to go vacation. I was really hoping when I brought this up that an idea was because I've been thinking about it like all day. Like, hey, 2020, like it was a shitty year, but there was definitely some good parts. We should talk about the good parts. And now that I'm sitting here, um, it's more difficult than I think. So I guess I kind of put myself on the spot, even though I was thinking about it all day.
You know
I
what?
guess I'll lock in vacation. What?
Just thinking about it, you know what? One of my other favorite ones was at Easter, when we're at the height of the pandemic, and you and mom and dad were all like cooped up in the house together, and I came back around for Easter, and it was just the four of us, and we were playing Scat, which is like a card game.
You want to know what's funny is like I live like the three of us lived in that house without being able to leave pretty much for like 3 whole months. Like you couldn't see anybody else from like March until well through the end of May, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just sat there and hung out with each other all day long. I cannot believe that happened. I forgot about that. That was a quarter of my year.
It's pretty insane.
But I'm still here to tell it to you. One thing that I was looking forward to, and I know that, for the people out there who don't understand how the creative juices get flowing when it comes to Two in the Cooler, the answer is they don't. We just kind of wing things and make it seem like we might have an idea. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like oftentimes we hop on for the who would win of the week, and one of us like maybe can't even remember what it is because it just gets thrown out there so quick.
Oh, that's happened maybe once or twice.
Yeah, yeah. That's when I tee Andy up. If I tee Andy up, it's because I don't remember.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. So there you go. That's how you try to build the foundation of a successful podcast. But this one I was excited for. I had kind of thought back and forth, and you had texted me a few ideas, and we had ran the idea of almost like a March Madness bracket type way of doing all the past who would win of the weeks throughout the year of 2020. But that's just that's a time consuming. That's a whole That's over
Next
an episode itself.
That,
So
not this year.
yeah, it's content to come, but just wasn't in the cards this year with everything going on. But what we kind of did decide to do is just a pick of kind of our favorite person throughout the year. We're gonna throw them in a who would win of the week. Excuse me, and we're gonna battle it out. So Andrew has selected Danny Trejo, who, as we know, is not very tall, although Andy seems to think he is so tough. And I have selected Jack Sparrow. So that is this week's Who Would Win of the Week. It's kind of a collab of all our favorites. Well, not all of them, but a collab of two of each of our favorites. We got Andy in Danny Trejo's corner, me in Jack Sparrow's corner. We're going to duke it out. Andy, let's kick it off. Bell has rung. Boom.
It's so obvious that Danny Trejo would win, especially this matchup. And the reason for that is, I think, mainly because of the toughness factor. Now, I'll get into this more as we keep going, but Jack Sparrow's a pirate, which if you live, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me, there's no way that's easy, right? For anybody who's a pirate in Jack Sparrow's time, it's never easy. But Jack Sparrow's a real shyster, to borrow a term, and when faced with opposition, his instinct is to run away. Danny Trejo is, in a way, you could say a modern-day pirate because I think that he has that toughness now that those pirates did back then. Obviously, it came about in a different way. They got their bearings on the high seas. Danny Trejo got it from growing up, having to fight his whole life, dealing with drugs and crime, obviously going to prison and things like that. And so in this case, when you have a quote-unquote pirate like Danny Trejo going up against a pirate like Jack Sparrow, I mean, when you put the gloves on, it's over. I mean, Jack Sparrow, I think that he would here's how it would go. Jack Sparrow would be in the middle of a sentence, and Danny Trejo would just whop him right in the face. And Jack Sparrow would fall immediately. Hold on. And then he would kind of dance back up like, whoa, huh? And then he would get punched again, and then it's lights out.
So I'm going to say something first. I'm going to put a time limit on this because it's very obvious that we're never going to reach an agreement.
Okay.
So let's call it by 9:12.
That's 6 minutes from now.
Coming to an end.
All
right, 9:15.
Soft agree.
Okay, we'll aim for around 9:12 because this is never going to go anywhere. Yeah. And let me just. Okay. First of all, you talk about how it being difficult to be a pirate in the era that Jack Sparrow was a pirate. Well, guess what? It wasn't difficult for Jack Sparrow. And when this fight takes place, at the end of the day, Danny Trejo will be sitting there, and he will forever remember that was the day that he almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow. Because let me tell you something right now. Yes, Jack Sparrow's tendency is definitely to run away, but if I was as good at running away as Jack Sparrow, it would be my tendency too. You're telling me that a guy who has an octopus for a face and controls a ship that lives underwater, that jumps out of the water and eats other ships, it's called a kraken. He controls this animal. You're telling me Jack Sparrow can work his way out of that, but he can't work his way out of a little scuffle with Danny Trejo? Mm-hmm. Danny Trejo doesn't even own a boat, probably. Not one that can sail the 7 seas.
Okay.
Let's be real. Here's the thing. No, I'm still going. I gave you your time. You respect my opinion. You give me my time. I think that if this was I gotta be careful with my words here. I understand that Danny Trejo is the tougher, better fighter option. But we're talking about Jack Sparrow. This is the most elusive man, and people think he's an idiot. Guess what, people? You guys are wrong. And I'll tell you why. And that is because you just are. And actually, I've just gotten some feedback live on the stream. I have a special guest who I'm calling in to join us right now to explain exactly the scenario of what's going on here. Everybody, Alex Bauer has entered the room. Say hello, Alex.
I'm back, bitches. What's up?
Explain what you just said to me.
I said, dude, he could literally just fake dead. He faked dead through like that. Remember, it's the second or third movie at the start of it. He's like in one of those camps where they let the people sit in the cages where they get picked at by birds, and then they wait until you're dead and throw you in a coffin. He faked dead to get out of there with a picture of a key. That doesn't what's he say? He goes, are we gonna go get the key that unlocks the treasure? And he goes, even better, a picture of a key. Just for a picture of a key, not even a real key. So I don't even know who he's fighting, but I guarantee you Jack Sparrow wins. The dude is invincible.
Matthew, plug your headphones back in.
Yeah.
And give them to Alex, because that'll mess up with the sound. Okay, so he's going up against Danny Trejo. Jack Sparrow is.
Danny Trejo's a bitch.
I don't even know who Danny Trejo is.
You don't know who Danny
I'll show you
Trejo
who he is right now.
Jesus Christ.
He better be a pirate.
That's kind of part of my argument. So anyways.
No, he's from Spy Kids.
He's not just from Spy Kids.
He's also in, wait. He's also in a...
Oh, yo, I know this dude. Yeah, okay.
But did you know, Alex, that there's a prison boxing league, and Danny Trejo got to the top of that. He's just one of the toughest guys ever to live.
Being in Dora.
Yeah, Andrew, remember he's in the Dora movie.
Yeah, I know. He's the voice
there.
of Boots. Matthew, just admit, how tough do you have to be where you can do that shit? And what I'm saying, how tough do you have to be where you can do that shit?
If you're in the Dora movie, you're never kicking Jack Sparrow's ass.
100%
Andrew, you said he'll
Matthew.
Get up and do a little dance.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
He'll hit you with a little
Listen to me.
dance.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
What you said about being a pirate is difficult, but not for Jack Sparrow because he's so cunning. He's just weaseling his way out of stuff, and it's making him soft. Jack Sparrow, compared to Danny Trejo,
it would
is
work
soft.
on Danny Trejo.
Yo, he's going to do the same thing he would always do. He's going to convince Danny Trejo to be on his side until he can fuck him
No.
over.
You have to listen to me.
I agree with that, Alex.
That's a fine argument. Listen to me right now. That's a fine argument to make. However, one of Danny Trejo's strengths is not just his toughness, it's his street smart ability. Danny Trejo can smell bullshit from miles away. And Jack Sparrow,
Dude,
as cunning as
you
he
don't-
is, shut up.
Somebody else.
Shut the fuck up. Jack
No.
Sparrow is a bullshitter. He's a big bullshitter.
Jack Sparrow could beat Danny Trejo with his legs and his arms tied together.
All he needs is his yappers.
Yeah. The Flying Dutchman couldn't even get
See, that's what I said. And the Kraken.
Are you saying the
Kraken
Kraken,
did get him.
and the Flying Dutchman can't beat Danny Trejo either? Then
Yes, I am saying that.
Danny Trejo
honestly.
stands no chance against the
Oh
goddamn.
my
I
God,
know.
no.
I know. So I've
Danny
now brought in the
Trejo-
cavalry.
Danny Trejo would knock Jack Sparrow's ass out. It would be
Jack
over.
Sparrow
It'd
would
be
dance
toast.
circles around Danny Trejo.
No, he would not.
You said it yourself. He'd get a little bit like this, a little bit like this, a little glass of rum, a little bottle of rum for Jack Sparrow, and the shoulders get all loose and his hands come up.
What are we even
then he
talking
starts
about
talking.
here? What are we even
Next
talking
thing
about
you know, Next thing you know, Danny Trejo is the one that's trapped in a cage, begging a dog for the key, and Jack Sparrow's out running loose.
What are we talking about here? We're talking about two guys getting into a fight, getting into an altercation.
Yeah.
And nobody, almost
Jack Sparrow.
No. Danny Trejo has fought more than just about anybody on the planet. He's definitely fought more than Jack Sparrow. That Jack Sparrow doesn't stand a chance.
Andrew, you're underestimating the charisma of Jack. Has he ever been successfully caught?
He is very charismatic. What I'm saying is Danny Trejo.
And
that wouldn't work on Danny Trejo. His
Yes, it
charisma
would.
would not. His charisma would not.
Anybody
work on
who
Danny
is
Trejo.
anybody who is in the Dora movie is susceptible to being persuaded by Jack
I
Sparrow.
think that's a very incorrect way to look at this whole thing. I think that. Yeah, I think you're looking at
Okay,
that from
this
the
is
wrong angle.
okay. This is okay. Let me put it like this, Andrew. Let me put it like this.
Keep going, Craig.
Are we battling? Okay.
Keep going, Craig.
Yeah.
Go.
Craig, fuck you. 2020, 2021, no Craig. Let me put it this way to you. If you could pick the best fighter in the world, who would it be? Best fighter in the world.
I mean,
Like, you're putting this guy up against anybody. Well, just imagine that. Imagine you have a person
Craig-
of that
Craig's in
standing in your brain. Yeah, he's just doing
yeah,
his own thing.
just ignore that.
Imagine
Sorry.
you have a person of that standing, like, in your brain,
Okay.
and you put them in a ring against Jack Sparrow.
Okay.
I think it's 50-50. And Danny Trejo isn't that number one person you're thinking of, is it?
True, but I think that Danny Trejo's background suits him better than others.
So you're saying
to
that
win this fight.
you're basing. Okay, well, we've pretty much hit our time deadline, but I'm gonna say this and then I'll let you say whatever.
Okay.
You're basing your choice of Danny Trejo winning off the fact that you think that Danny Trejo's past experiences in life have made his BS meter so high that he could never get BS'd by Jack Sparrow. Is that what you're saying?
That's not all I'm saying, but for the argument that you're presenting, absolutely.
Well, everybody says you can't BS a BSer. I don't know how that applies, but it's a quote from Role Models. Jack Sparrow could BS the shit out of Danny Trejo. I guarantee you that, like, and I just thought of this too, and this is, I'm just guessing, but I guarantee you if Danny Trejo was ready to step up and beat the wheels off of Jack Sparrow, which I believe that if it came down to it, he would. Like, I'm not saying that Danny Trejo wouldn't beat up Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that I think that they would, like, Jack Sparrow, exactly what Alex said, would talk Danny Trejo into his corner until Jack Sparrow was confident enough that he was able to burn that bridge, and then he'd fry Danny Trejo. And I say that because I really think that based on the guy that I imagine Danny Trejo being, no matter how pissed he was at Jack Sparrow, if Jack Sparrow pulls out a bottle of rum and starts shooting the shit with Danny Trejo is going to love the guy. He's going to trust the guy. And then guess what Jack Sparrow's going to do? He's going to stab him in the back while he's sleeping. And the fight's over. He's the master BSer. He gets himself out of any situations by just being a fucking idiot. That's how he thrives. You think being a pirate is tough for Jack Sparrow? He does that shit in his sleep. He's never planned a thing out in his life. He's got a compass that follows him in the direction of what he most wants in life. Hold that compass up. You just run away from Danny Trejo for a couple days. He'd probably get tired.
All right, let's close this thing out.
Jack Sparrow was able to convince that whole colony of cannibals that he was a god, and eventually
People
did
that had
backfire because they tried to eat him.
Met someone from outside of their ever.
Yeah, and he was able to convince them that he was a god.
Yes, and that puts them at a complete disadvantage. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, get out of Dodge.
You're.
Regardless, okay, so we knew that
that one. But
so,
oh my god,
we knew that this was not going to come to a polite ending, which is why the time limit idea got put into place. So we don't have to go any further. But I'm excited to see the vote on this one because this one is really one where social media will kind of, prevail. Here's what I should have done to begin with, though, and I'm going to say this, and this is really going to, again, creep in on your credibility. I should have made the rule that you can only pick a fighter who won their first fight, because Danny Trejo got his ass kicked by The Rock.
In the voting we did with Ken and Will, I don't remember what the vote was on social media.
Is that who we did it with? Did we do this one with the guys from
Conspiracy? Yeah.
I didn't even remember.
By the way, they have an Unreal Christmas special out called A Kendrick Carol.
You are in it, aren't you?
I am in that. And it's
shout
awesome.
out to the Conspiracy guys.
Yeah, shout out to Conspiracy.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. But anyways, we'll lock this in. Jesus Christ. I just think that if you say that Jack Sparrow could win this fight, I just think, if you vote, I get, we're kind of talking about this, and I understand, and I respect your opinion because, you've thought about it and stuff, but if somebody on Twitter votes for Jack Sparrow, I think you're so stupid. I think that's just the wrong choice, but ultimately, that's who makes the decision, so we'll see what happens. But I liked that idea that we did that for the who would win. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think it was fun. So again, obviously we're going with who we want. Andy is Trejo. I have Jack Sparrow. The problem that you're going to soon find out, Andy, is the silent majority supports Jack Sparrow. Everybody loves Jack Sparrow. And you're forgetting
without a doubt. But that doesn't mean that everybody loves all kinds of stuff. But everybody loves Oreos. But
I love Oreos.
If you smash one with a boot, it doesn't survive. And that's what's happening here. Danny Trejo is the boot. Jack Sparrow is the Oreo. It is what it is.
That's not even a fair comparison because a boot couldn't stomp an Oreo without a foot in it. So now you've got a puppet master. And Oreos can't talk, which Jack Sparrow can. That was the dumbest analogy you could have said. Lock it in. Vote on social media. Jack Sparrow wins this fight. Lock it in!
Trejo all the way. Woo. Good stuff.
Okay. The last thing I wanted to touch on. I know. We've been all over the episode, all over the block today. We were shitting ourselves. I know. We've had a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to get on here today. There's one last thing that I wanted to touch on as we, battle through technical difficulties, as always, to finish the episode here a bit. So we're sorry about that. But to end it, last episode of 2020 will forever be the year that Two in the Cooler was started. So regardless of all the negative and shitty things that have come from the situation that we are all in today as a local community, as a country, as a globe, dealing through this pandemic. You got to focus on the little things, and that's kind of one reason that I brought up the whole best moment of 2020 earlier, is because you do have to find the light that's at the end of the tunnel, right? And I think that one big light that we forgot about was this podcast. It gave us the opportunity to come and once a week get together and talk and enjoy ourselves, and hopefully make the people out there that listen to the podcast find a little more enjoyment in their difficult times. And so that is one thing I'm thankful for, and I'm glad that we are closing out 2020 with Two in the Cooler, still firing. Episode 30, what? 8? 38?
9.
37? 39? So, yeah, I mean, 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
Pretty much battle this whole thing. We'll probably never have as much content we're going to have to start creating content out of our asses once the pandemic goes away and the election's over, and,
I think
there's
we'll be
no more
right, Matthew.
Who's I know, I was just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's been a crazy year,
Yeah.
like it's definitely given us a lot to talk about. And so as shitty as it's been, got to be a little bit thankful that it was opened up the opportunity to start this. No?
Absolutely. Who knows? Thinking about it now, I think that it probably would have happened at some point. No matter what. Maybe. I don't know. Who
Yeah,
can
but
say, who can
no
say if the
pandemic, you
podcast
never
ever
know
would've
what's going to
started?
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because,
But
I mean, so.
so maybe I just like to think that it would have, but just later. But I don't think it would have started. Yeah, I think it would have been later. So when it did, yeah, I guess we'll save.
Positives with the
maybe we'll
negatives.
save that for a different time.
Yeah.
But
Positives with the negatives. But hopefully everybody has a fantastic start to the new year. As always, don't be an idiot. It's New Year's Eve. Even though there has been no previous laws in 2020, I would say that probably changes in 2021. So be smart. Take care of yourselves. Andy, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
New Year.
Yeah, we didn't even.
Happy
talk
all
about
the other
New Year's
holidays.
Eve. I hate New Year's Eve.
I know.
But I think this one.
Yeah,
was
me
good.
too. You know what? I'm going to a thing tomorrow, small little thing.
Yeah.
And the people, some nice people are going to be there, some listeners, some friends, some former guests, Brian Fletcher. And it's not that I'm not excited to see them, but I do not want to do shit tomorrow. This year has just been a year of not doing shit. Why should we do shit to celebrate the start of a new year? I feel like trying to make elaborate plans for New Year's Eve sets yourself up for a shitty start to the new year, because you have these expectations of.
Sure, all of that plays a factor. And I don't mean to be dramatic, but I would rather fucking kill myself than make New Year's Eve plans. Because I fucking hate it so much.
So he said that. Not me. Andy, I love you. Happy New Year's. These are your New Year's plans right here. Andy, 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. Happy New Year. Andy, go to bed. You're an old man.
I mean, I am doing something on New Year's this year, but it's the planning.
Let your bald skin kind of, Yeah, we know that you started wearing a wig, Andy. We've been able to tell. For those of you who are listening, because it's an audio platform, Andrew has gone completely bald and he wears a wig now. That's not a rumor. That's completely true.
Wow, this is
Andy,
not how I wanted to
love you.
come out of the closet, but so be it.
I love you. 2021. Let's rock it, kid. Let's get it going. Content.
There we go.
Two in the Cooler to the sky. Like and subscribe. Follow. All that shit. See that plug? I just threw it in there real quick. People didn't even know it was a plug.
Yep. To the sky. Let's do it. Thanks, Matthew.
All right,
Get out of here.
Andy.
Happy New Year.